Hello and welcome back. Today I thought we could start a new series where I run through my top 10 favorites from some of my most loved and most reached for brands, and we're going to begin with Goelia, and today's video is in partnership with them. But what I've done is I've picked out my favorite 10 items that I've added to my wardrobe, all of the things that I have tried, the things that have really stood out to me as being the best of the best, the creme de la creme. Now if you are new to Goelia, I feel like there's kind of two sides to the brand. So there's this really pretty, feminine, quite romantic side, and then there is the very kind of chic, classic Parisian side. So you've kind of got those two options, loads of really great workwear. And if you do live in Sydney like I do, I highly recommend going and checking out their beautiful Pitt Street Mall store, because it gives you the opportunity to really touch the fabrics and feel the quality for yourself. But I do have my discount code Jamie25, which will get you 25% off site-wide, though they do often run discounts, other promotional offers, which will get you an even higher saving depending on how many items you buy. So if there are any better sales on, I will also leave those detailed in the description box. So I'm kind of going to start off with the very first piece, and this was kind of the item that kicked this all off for me. It is this striped wool cardigan jacket. And you probably will have seen this quite a lot. I've featured it heavily over the past year. It has turned out to be one of my most worn pieces before in my seasonal reviews. It just, to me, is such a timeless piece. It's very easy to wear and the quality of it is exceptional as well. So this is a wool blend and it actually feels really nice and soft. This comes in a few different colors too. You can get it in the white and red, and then I also think that there's a brown and black stripe as well. And what I kind of liked about this is the fact that the buttons are actually just for decoration. So they're these really beautiful ornate buttons. And then you have the hook and eye closure. So it feels really easy to kind of get on and off if you want to wear it open or just kind of wear the top button fastened. And being in the black and white stripe, it's incredibly easy to style up, though my personal favorite way to wear it is with a pair of tailored trousers, particularly in black, and that's probably the way that I have worn this the most. Yeah, mine has held up really, really well. I have had to use my fabric shaper on it once, which I think is pretty decent considering how much I've worn it, and you can throw this in the washing machine. I just popped it in a delicates bag and put it on a wool cycle, laid it flat to dry, and it came out looking like new. So that is my first piece. And on sizing, I did size up in a medium, which was what was recommended based off my measurements. However, I think you could easily do the small if you're an AU8 like me, but always refer to the garment measurements if you're not 100% sure. Okay, so this next item is one that has been eliciting a lot of questions whenever I have worn it over on Instagram, and I can understand why. I think that many of us are really drawn to this idea of a long and lean outfit. Personally, I like it because it's elongating. It kind of gives you this visual height, this illusion of being taller than you are, and especially if you do it in a single block of color. So this is a trouser skirt, and I found it really hard to come across trouser skirts that actually work for my body type. So I'm sure some of you will probably disagree with me on this, but I am a pear shape. I take after my mother, so I tend to be a little bit smaller around my shoulders and chest, and then my widest point are my hips, and it is never more obvious than when I'm trying to buy something that is very rigid and quite structured around the hips. Usually it'll be too big in the waist, but then it is too tight in the hips, so it kind of creates this conundrum for me. This is perfect because it has the elasticated waist at the back, so you do have that flexibility, that movement there and stretch with the actual size. It isn't too tight over the hips either. I find it just kind of skims over the hips. The detail I like the most about it are the side slits, because they create airflow, and I think that's something that is very necessary, especially if you live in a hotter climate like I do. Having that additional little bit of ventilation makes this a skirt style that I'm very happy to reach for even on a ridiculously hot day. Actually, the weather when I wore this recently was 38 degrees, I think. I just wore it with a white singlet and I felt really good in this all day. So that is kind of my next pick. If you've been looking at a trouser skirt, highly recommend that one. Then I want to move on to knitwear, and actually I have to say Goelia's knitwear in general is just really beautiful. They do a mix of 100% wool and then 100% cashmere knits, which are kind of my go-to. And there's lots of different colors, a lot of neutrals, brights, and you can also get textured knitwear as well. Though I think my personal favorite has to be this bright red woolen knit, which I have to say it doesn't really feel scratchy at all. It's just very, very comfortable against the skin. If you're particularly sensitive, maybe you might find it a little bit tickly, but honestly, it feels like there is cashmere blended into it, though it's 100% wool. So This is so nice with the little mock neck detail. The actual red that they've used is one that I personally find incredibly beautiful, and I feel it works really nicely with my complexion. I think that's why I have been so enamored with it. And the fit of it is just lovely too. It isn't too slim, it's not too oversized and boxy. I will say I sized up to a medium though, so I would have a little bit of additional give around the waist, but if you stuck to your usual size, you'd have a very classic fit. I will put on screen a couple of my other favorites. I've got a 100% cashmere cardigan from them, which is beautiful, warm button up with the top few buttons undone, and then also the cape on its sweater, which just has this absolutely stunning texture to it, and that one is probably the softest out of all three. You'll have to forgive the fact that most of these items are neutrals, but to me, I think when you're building a wardrobe, regardless of where you're shopping, longevity, that is kind of the key factor for me. And so when I saw these shorts, I just thought that they were great, especially for summer. They're a black tailored short. They're not too short, they're not too long. Again, they have that same elasticated detail at the back of the waist, just like the trouser skirt, which makes it very comfortable to wear. I love the pleating at the front. These are just beautiful. Again, you can throw these in the wash, which is one of the things that I like about them. They're very practical, especially if you have young kids. And one of my tips for people who have young children but do want to kind of feel a little bit more dressed up is to look for practical but more elevated versions of items, style staples that you want to wear on repeat. So to use myself as an example, during the summertime I'm often wearing a pair of denim shorts, but they read very casual, and they are. So I wanted something that would kind of be the antithesis of that, that would feel a bit more dressed up, but that I could wear in casual settings, and these are definitely it. I got these in a size small, so I find they fit true to size. Oh, and the skirt I also got in small as well, because you've got that give at the waist. I feel like they're very, very forgiving. Just a beautiful short, and you can wash them very easily as well. This striped tank I think is probably one of my favorite striped tanks that I've ever tried. It is white with a black stripe. I think that this is incredibly timeless, very kind of Parisian inspired. It isn't too long through the body. It's more of a fitted design. You have the high back, and then you have a slight scoop at the neckline as well, which I think is very flattering and kind of creates a really nice backdrop for layering lots of necklaces, especially with this white section here. I do also have another tank which is very similar, which I got a year ago from Goelia. So this one is white with a navy stripe. I've washed this one and it's held up really, really well. They also do this in other colors too. I think white being one, and then there's another color. Quite similar options. I personally prefer this particular style here just because I like the asymmetry and not having the stripes the whole way up, but either are great. This one does give you a little bit more coverage at the neck though, so maybe a better option for the work, especially if modesty is something you're concerned about. I would say stick with your usual size because these have a lot of stretch to them, but just really, really comfortable to wear and a good all-round staple to have. I think that Goelia's denim is pretty underrated, and these ones here I found in the denim section, but I would say they're kind of a hybrid between a trouser and a jean, and it's because they're in a cotton twill, so they do have that very visual component that you get from a pair of jeans, though it's just a little bit more subtle. These are really, really soft as well to the touch. They have give to them, they're stretchy, so they feel very comfortable against the skin, but basically these are, sorry I should say what they are, they're a wide leg white jean trouser hybrid. I love that they've got the little belt loops here, which when I styled this in the cutaways I did wear it without a belt, but if you want to highlight the waist and really accentuate, create that proper visual break, then you could easily add that in. Really, really nice, and I think the cut of them is very flattering. And I got these ones in a 26, which is my usual denim size. If you want a bit more give, especially with their trousers, I actually recommend going up one size because you'll get more of a relaxed, chill fit. When I first discovered Goelia, it was really their coats that I was drawn to, which I actually think is something they are known for, as they make a range of wool and cashmere coats, and actually at the high end of the spectrum, I'm pretty sure the coats are 100% cashmere, so you can imagine wearing that, it would feel incredibly luxurious. The coat that I've got here is actually in a wool and cashmere blend, which is incredibly soft, and if you caught my video where I was talking about where to save and where to spend, I said in that video that I think coats are worth spending on and that you should keep an eye out for coats that do have at least 5 to 10% cashmere blended in, because it really makes a difference to the hand feel, and it also adds this additional warmth and coziness as well, especially when you are wearing a double face coat. And I will say with coats like this, they do tend to kind of keep out the wind chill. You might have to layer up if you live in a climate where it goes significantly below zero, like quite a bit, you know, with heat tech and stuff. But for most winters, I would say that just this coat would be sufficient. It's going to keep you really warm, and even just trying it on, I have to say I was melting a little bit. It is warm here in Sydney, but even with the aircon, I was melting. This is such a pretty oat colour, and it reminds me a lot of a Manso Gabrielle coat I have. You can't buy their apparel anymore, which is a real shame. I bought mine pre-loved, but this is quite a similar style, similar vibe if you have been eyeing that up and just haven't been able to find it anywhere. And I feel like the price is really reasonable as well. I love the single button closure, and if you really wanted to make this your own, you could easily belt it as well, just using one of your leather belts. And I think it's a really interesting way to add in your own personal style flourish to your outerwear. But absolutely stunning, and I think that this colour is really just a beautiful light neutral, very versatile. My favourite dress from Goelia has to be this sweet little tweedy number. And actually I was sending this to my sister because I was thinking maybe I could wear it to the Taylor Swift Eras tour. Just little sequins that you can kind of see glistening throughout the entire dress are so beautiful. I love the little diamante trim around the collar, which makes it really sweet. And I mean, it has pockets, it has these sort of hidden pockets. Very obscure, you wouldn't expect them to be there, but they are, and very practical. They're quite a large size as well. Has the lovely little dropped hem, and I will say just this fabrication, they're boucle tweeds, really nice. They do a whole bunch of jackets in this fabrication which feel really luxurious, elevated, and quite ladylike, very feminine, elegant to wear. This is great with tights, with a little underlayer underneath, and boots, but also, I mean, I would just wear this with some sparkly heels for a night out. But really cute, definitely one of my favorites. And sizing, I got it in size small. This is one of the roomier, more relaxed pieces I have from the brand. I don't think anybody talks about silk scarves enough, but I personally love them, and the ones from Goelia are a really generous size. I think these are 60 centimeters, which makes them a great option for wearing as, you know, a little bit of a beach cover-up, just to kind of cover your bum and your hips if you want something really luxurious at the beach. Or alternatively, you can wear it as a top, and there are multiple different ways that you can style them. My favorite being as a bandana top, just tied at the back. You can also create it into a bit of a one shoulder style, but I think a really fun piece to have, especially if you're heading on vacation, because you can do lots of different things with it. And I'll find a video which kind of showcases some of the different things you can do with a square scarf in case you need some styling inspiration. Final favorite to mention from Goelia, item number 10, are their wool flannel trousers. I have them in two colors. These are the dark gray. I've also got the black pair. I think these are beautiful for the office for winter. They are really quite robust, really thick. They feel so warm. They're actually also lined as well, which I know is a bit of a deal breaker for some people when you find a wool flannel trouser and it hasn't got any lining and it just feels not great against your skin. They sort of have a bit of a felted hand feel to them when you touch them, and I mean, I think the style is incredibly classic. There are no belt loops on these, but on the inside there is a little elastic so that you can adjust the fit, so you can tighten it or loosen it up. I sized up to a 27 in these, but the 26 also would have been fine. It's more just the fit that you're after. I desired a slightly more relaxed fit with these. They are a full length trouser on me, so if you are shorter, you may need to get them tailored. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 favorites from Goelia, items that you will have seen over the past year. I would love to know which of these pieces is your favorite. I mean, I know many of you ended up adding this to your wardrobe, and I hope you love it just as much as I love mine. Genuinely one of my favorite pieces in my closet. But yeah, thank you so much for spending some of your day with me. Don't forget you can use my code Jamie25 for 25% off Goelia. But I hope you got some outfit inspiration, maybe some ideas for the week ahead, and thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week with a brand new one. See you soon. Bye!